Have you been or are you planning to visit Tibet? Why does Tibet interest you?
My personal impression for Mordor is such a remote place, and I can never imagine I can be there.
My trip was quite relaxing comparing to Changing's trekking trip. I spent most of my time in Lhasa.
Join us on Up Close as we journey to Tibet through a backpacker's perspective.
Hi, and welcome to Up Close. Today, we'll take you on a journey to the rooftop of the world, Tibet, an area whose landscape and beauty compares only to those conjured up in our dreams. Now, let's take an up-close look at the natural scenery of Tibet. Absolutely gorgeous and inspiring, isn't it? Let me see a show of hands. How many of you have always wanted to go to Tibet? Okay, almost all of you. How many of you have actually been to Tibet? Okay, I'm going to come down into the stage and you're going to tell me why you always want to go to Tibet. What's the allure of Tibet for you? Let's start off with you. Why does Tibet attract you? Why does it interest you?
Just as you said before, the beauty you can only think of in your mind. And to me, living in Beijing only for a few months now, it just seems so different. Just the wildlife, the nature's beauty, and just the isolationism, like just how far away it is from, where we are now. It's just something that you really can't imagine until you go there, and something that I've never seen before and like to.
Right, a complete escape, something completely different from what you've experienced.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Who else?
The culture, the people, the landscape, the architecture, basically everything makes me want to go there. Haven't been there yet.
I haven't been there yet either, and I hope to go soon. I know. How about somebody on the top row there?
Okay, I really want to go there just for I think it's really different, and I'm living here in Beijing, this big city, but Tibet is really different from here, and the culture, those religious things, and the food and the people's lifestyle. So I think I want to go there. Maybe I don't know what's so special there, but I just want to go to see those different things.
Great, thank you. And how about the lady next to you?
I think it would be great to go to Tibet and just explore new cultural practices, traditions, customs, and just to get a better idea personally of what life is like in Tibet.
Great, thank you.
My parents work there, and I really want to see the sceneries, beautiful sceneries there. And I think those Tibetan people are very pure. And so this summer I am planning to go there once again.
Great. And you say your parents live there?
Yeah.
What are they doing there? They work there?
Teachers.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. All right. You're lucky you get to go visit all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our first guest today went to a place called Mo Tuo on her first trip to Tibet. Have you heard of this place, Mo Tuo? Yeah, raise your hands. Okay, quite a few of you have heard of this place. It's a very remote place. It actually the name stands for Hidden Lotus Land. And hidden it truly is. Because of China's 2,100 counties, this is the only county that does not have a direct highway or road link to the outside world. Today, our first guest is going to tell us more about this remote place. So let's invite Chenjing to the up-close stage. Hello. Welcome to Up Close. Thanks for being here. You want to say hi?
Hi everyone, I'm Chen Jin, and nice to be here and share some information on motor and share my experience in Tibet. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Have a seat.
Okay.
Now, Chenjing, I'd actually like to start this interview reading a brief description of Motuo. Okay, let's start. The Yarlung Tengpo River cuts a tortuous path through the Himalayas in southeast Tibet. Where it takes a sharp turn at Mount Namcha Barwa, it forms the world's largest canyon, which reaches a depth of 5,382 meters. In the deepest part of the canyon, an undisturbed fairyland of snow-clad peaks, glistening waterfalls, and vast virgin forests, lies Motuo, covering an area of over 30,000 square meters on the border of southeast Tibet. It is the last county within the reaches of the Yarlung Tengpo River in China. Of its population of nearly 10,000, 60% are Menpas, while the rest are Lopas and Tibetans.
Yeah,
Sounds familiar, huh?
Yeah, right.
And sounds absolutely extraordinary. Now, I know Tibet is a very large place.
Yeah.
And you went to Motuo for your very first trip. Of all the places in Tibet, why did you choose Motuo?
Actually, before I went to Moto, and I read a book, and it's described for some trekkings in China, and it listed the top 10 trekking places in China. Moto ranked the first, so impressive for me. And also in 2006, and the train will start operation from 2006, and I decided to do my first trip before the train starts its operation. So I decided for sure, and I must to be in Tibet in 2005. And at that time, and my friend Teresa, she's so helpful, so she made a decision to make the trip to Moto. And for my personal impression for Moto is such a remote place, and I can never imagine I can be there. It's really far away from my living and from my life. Finally, and I decided to make the trip, and for the reason I want to know more about Moto, to know the place, and to know the people, to know that this is this is one of the last Pure Lands in China.
Neither of you had been to Tibet before this trip.
Yeah, actually, Teresa made her first trip in 2004, and made her trip to Ali.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, of course, Beijing is very far from Motuo. So how did you get to the starting point at that time?
We took the train from Beijing to Xining, and then we changed to another train from Xining to Germu. And we took the bus from Germu to Lhasa. Actually, it took us such a long way. It's really far away.
How long did it take you to get to Lhasa?
And totally, it's for three and a half days, almost 3.5 days to be in Lhasa.
From Beijing to
from
Lhasa.
Beijing to Lhasa, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then once in Lhasa to the starting point of your trek, how long did that take?
And
how did you get there?
Oh, yeah, and in Lhasa, and we stayed in a hostel and put a note on the whiteboard and try to find some people who would like to join us to make the trip to Moto. And at that time, and we got one guy, and we finally call him Hero, a nickname of Hero. Actually, he's another trekker, and backpacker, and but finally he made his trip, and so at that time, that's the only people we find, only.
Just the three of you, Teresa, and Harold.
And we took a bus from Lhasa to Bayi. That's Bayi is a small county. That's the start point from Bayi. And then
how long was that bus?
6 or 7 hours from Lhasa to be there. And when we got to Bayi, it's really a little bit late. We couldn't catch out of the bus from Bayi to Paixiang. That's the really start point of Moto. So we had to take a taxi. We had to take a taxi from Bayi to Paixiang. And when we arrived at Paixiang, it's really dark. Yeah.
So it sounds like it took you somewhere about 5 days, 5 or 6 days to actually get to the start point of your trek, yes?
Right.
You must have had a lot of time off from work. And then how long did the trek itself take?
10 days.
Wow. Now, I did some research myself about Moto, and I looked at some travel tips, and the first travel tip that I saw said, do not even consider doing this trek if you are not prepared to encounter difficulties and setbacks.
Yeah.
This was your first time to Tibet. Teresa had been there before, but this was your first time traveling through Motuo, which I know has its own hazards. So how prepared were you? How did you get prepared?
It's at the very beginning, and it's really, really hard for us to do the preparation because it's not so many information for Motuo. And finally, from the website, we got some people, and there's one people who we call him Wang Ge, Brother Wang, and he just finished his trip to Motuo 2 weeks ago before we left. So he's really helpful. At least from his information, we got to know we don't need to bring a tent. We don't need to bring the sleeping bags. That means we don't need to carry so much heavy stuff with us.
So why didn't you need sleeping bags and tents? Because there are places to stay along the way?
Yeah, actually it's not a dormitory. We can just call it a dormitory, just a shelter place with some wooden plate, some places. And for local people and for the people just to stay inside. And every day we got to start from first place and to stay in the same place because that's the only place we can stay. So no matter how you go, how fast you go or how slow you go, and that's the only place you can stay. So every day, all the people going to Motuo just follow the same place and same schedule.
Oh, so everybody's following the same route and you're stopping every night. So day 1, you start here, you end here. Day 2.
Right.
So people can't go ahead. People can't skip a spot and go to the next.
No, because if you're going to skip one stop, and you have to go more than 10 kilometers away to find another one.
I see. And you brought a map with you. Can you show us the map?
We start from here, Paixiao. This is start point. So we go through south, a little bit south, and then west, and then north. This is the Beibong. Beibong is one of the places we stayed for half day. And the Motuo is actually the place, our place we expect to visit. And after that we go north again and finish and to the Bo Mead.
Sounds like a pretty long trip.
Yes, really.
Yes. We talked about the preparation that you did. You were expecting to encounter some difficulties and challenges.
Yeah.
What sort of difficulties did you encounter?
Yeah. Actually, the biggest challenge for me is leaders. And at that time, it's so tough. And I tried to search do you have some special way to keep leaders far away from the people and from me or from my friends? And finally, we couldn't find a way to keep away from the people. It just stayed on the leaf or grass leaf or tree leaf. And when he feel the heat, he just jumped towards the heat. So attach the people's clothes or to the wool of the animal, and then he can find a place to suck the blood.
How big were the leeches?
And the biggest one I saw, this one is such a big one, and it's a jungle color. The most hard one is the color.
I've traveled before, and there were leeches this big, but I can't imagine traveling through jungle and bush with leeches this big.
Yeah.
Did you ever find a leech on your way? Okay, so you couldn't prevent it. You just had to know what to do once you had one.
I got 4 or 5. Not the biggest one is such big, not so big. And my friend Teresa, she's so brave. She bite the leech.
Scared, and I don't know what is the best way. So I tried to pull out one from my hand, and I did several times and failed. So I bite it.
And then did it come off?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, but then you had a leech in your mouth, and that's not a good thing either, I'm sure. What about the people? What were they like? What were your interactions like with them? And how were they living?
Actually, most of the Myanmar people, they're still living at a very poor living condition, and the small villages and not so rich, and the only income for them is to be a potter. That's the only income, and everything, because there's no highways and no traffic, so all the things going to that place had to carry by their bags.
You talked about porters. Did you have one?
Yes, we bought some stationery for the school in Beibong. There's one bag that's really, really heavy because we have we bought books and pencils and stationeries for some handicrafts, more stuff for the children there. So there's one bag that's really heavy. So we had to find a porter. So finally we got 3 porters. And after finish the trip, we know that they are still teenagers. And after, actually, it's almost halfway, we got to know that. And start from that, we feel really, really guilty. But you have no choice. The only choice, you have to go straight away. So the only thing we can do is every day after we arrive at the dormitory place and to buy some foods for them, and every morning, and then we can buy some Red Bull, the soft drink